Let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a seriously intense, grim, dark fable, the chilling philosophical mechanics behind Sir Brain's terrifying transformation into the towering, uncompromising entity known as Big Ben. We'll be using the Fictinian dialectic, thesis, antithesis, synthesis, to really break down the competing forces at play here. It's a phenomenal look at sovereignty, the total subtraction of humanity, and the incredibly heavy price of possessing an unbreakable will.
We've got to confront Big Ben's uncompromising creed right out of the gate. Quote, "I will not be saved by soft errors." This single sentence perfectly sets the stage for the brutal evolution we're about to witness. It immediately tells us that everything we usually consider our saving graces, our human comforts, our emotional ties, our empathy, well, to this emerging entity, they're nothing more than glitches, weaknesses. And if you want absolute sovereignty, those errors absolutely have to go.
Chapter 1. The 13th Hour Approaches. The Threshold of Departure.
We start at the exact moment of crisis, the 13th hour. High noon with a vertical light beating down, the absolute, inescapable deadline. Right at this moment, the ledger watch in Sir Brain's hand suddenly grows ice cold. He realizes a denser configuration is coming for him, and his hand sweeps toward the mark of permanence with this unnatural speed. But here's the thing, there is no panic. It's just the cold calculation of his final human interval collapsing. Without wasting a single motion, he simply hands his pocket watch and his synthetic wood staff over to his companion, Alara.
Chapter 2. Thesis, the Victorian Illusion, the Weaker Conjugation. To really grasp the logic behind this transformation, let's look at the first step of our Fictinian dialectic, the thesis. This is our starting point, the Victorian gentleman. Now, the new entity characterizes this state by its soft errors. We're talking about comforting human illusions, annotations of harmlessness, and emotional vulnerabilities. The Victorian gentleman has vitality, sure, and he's a listening presence, but to the impending transformation, that's a fundamental weakness that literally has to be entirely subtracted to achieve pure will. Chapter 3. Mapping the Honest Pulse. Alara's Cartography.
Now, as the tension skyrockets, take a look at the exact high-stakes procedure Alara uses. Faced with the horrific transformation of her companion, she doesn't beg, she doesn't panic. Instead, she suppresses any emotional plea and becomes the stoic observer, an objective data collector. Look at her process. She grips the instruments, traces residual memories using her bracelet's magnetic electric sense, and just holds the ledger open. When she finally speaks, her tone has zero pleading in it. She simply asks, is the transformation still approaching? She's demanding precise data while the air tightens around them. She's mapping a tragedy, not stopping it.
Through her tactile map, she grounds this massive metaphysical shift into the physical history of their last 7 days. Using the honest pulse, she traces these residual memories. Day 1, at the altar of the wind spirit. Day 3, a slow return of vitality. Day 5, the deliberate practice of the honest flame. And finally, Day 7, establishing the quiet protocol for this exact moment. She isn't registering some sudden salvation or total loss here. It's just the cold, hard facts of a journey that led them straight to this unavoidable 13th hour.
Chapter 4. Antithesis, the Mechanical God. The River at the Edge of Negation.
So, back to our dialectic. Opposing our theses of Victorian humanity is the antithesis. Picture a dark silhouette, literally denser than shadow. This represents the earlier mechanical God, a force that looks straight into the river at the edge of negation and chose to affirm it. The crucial takeaway here is this stark clash. You have the fading human softness of the Victorian gentleman battling against the encroaching mechanical absolutism, both fighting for control of Sir Brain's physical frame.
And the weapon of choice for this antithesis? Absolute ice. It's this terrifyingly cold, unyielding force from the temple. As the transformation takes hold, this absolute ice physically manifests, permanently sealing away all the warmth, the human fractures, and the vitality of that Victorian tradition. It's essentially prepping the human vessel for its final horrifying form by locking a dense new mesh into place. Chapter 5. Synthesis, the Unyielding Recurrence. The Birth of Big Ben. The Fictinian dialectic resolves into a truly terrifying synthesis as that mesh completely locks in. The resulting entity isn't the Victorian gentleman, and it isn't the old mechanical God either. It's something entirely new, declaring, I am the recurrence that does not ask permission. I am the spring that prefers to break rather than remain unwound by another's hand. What a brilliant metaphor. It defines the true meaning of recurrence in this fable.
True sovereignty means stripping away every single illusion until only an unbreakable, unapologetic will is left. He would literally rather destroy himself, break the spring, than be manipulated or unwound by anyone else. And here is the stark visual reality of that synthesis. The human interval has completely collapsed. He is now Big Ben. He's taller, heavier, with residual cells, and wrapped in an architecture that flat out refuses to yield. All that remains of his humanity is this thin violet seam where the absolute ice sealed the fracture. Remember the honest flame from day 5? It hasn't been put out, but it's been reduced to a captive pilot light trapped inside this dense new machine. It's such a powerful, haunting image of subjugated humanity.
Chapter 6. Geneva's Iron Future. Indifferent to the ticking streets. So what exactly awaits the city of Geneva under this dense new configuration? Well, Big Ben turns to Alara with this strange, almost courteous recognition and announces that Geneva has waited long enough for a sovereign who doesn't apologize for the tempo he imposes. He is going to dictate the rhythm of the city now. Meanwhile, Alara's internal commentary is running like a second current. Her instruments physically adjust to his denser signature. She realizes the prophecy from the holy meeting place is confirmed. Her honest pulse remains steady. Her own soft error of humanity is still there, but she answers nothing. She just quietly keeps the ledger open while the changed city's iron streets tick on, completely indifferent to which version of the will is walking upon them.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with the final haunting question. In a world that ruthlessly subtracts comforting illusions, where do you stand? When the changed city ticks on, will you be the sovereign who dictates the uncompromising tempo like Big Ben? Or will you be the steady observer, like Alara, merely mapping the iron streets as the 13th hour falls? It's a profound choice about sovereignty, power, and observation. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the mechanics of this incredible fable. Keep questioning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.